Welcome back to the Stebbins Garage YouTube channel. Yeah, it's been 5 months since I posted a video on this car. I've been enjoying it. It's getting warm here, and we're gonna make this thing cool by installing air conditioning. So I'm gonna show you the process on how I do that, how I set it up with the Terminator and get it working. So let's get started. So in order to get the AC working on this LS swapped Firebird, we need a few things. Obviously, we need an AC compressor. We need some way to put that on, and we're gonna have to do a bit of wiring. So let's talk about this part first. This is a kit from ICT Billet. You've seen me use their products in other parts of the car. They pretty much made the whole front drive accessory for the car. And this allows me to mount this specific compressor in a mostly factory location. It's a mini compressor basically. So that'll give us plenty of space. It comes with all the pieces that we need, the idler, the mount, some of the bolts that will mount the bracket. So that's going to allow us to put an AC compressor right here on the side of the block. We're still going to be able to use the factory location for the belt. It's not going to foul on anything in here. And yes, I don't have the heater hooked up either. Well, we're going to work on that too. So the compressor that I'm going to be using is a Sandin SD7. I think it's also referred to as a 7176. It's a mini compressor. We'll have to make some lines. I have somebody I think that is going to be able to do that for me. There's going to be this is the trigger wire to turn it on and off. And the way we're going to actually accomplish that is through some more current performance wiring. Yeah, you've seen me use their stuff. I did a fan circuit and a fuel pump circuit. It just greatly simplifies the wiring process. So I'll go through the whole process when I set this up, but essentially this harness will grab power and ground and the signal from the inside to tell the compressor to turn on, and it will send that to the clutch. There's a pressure switch connection. This is the AC request line. And essentially it will talk to the Holley. They give you some good instructions on how to set it up with the Holley so that it will bump the idle when you turn the AC on and disconnect it when the throttle position sensor is over a certain value. So it's gonna make this a whole lot easier for me to do. I hate wiring, but they make it really easy. And the first step is going to be getting this bracket kit out, and we're going to assemble the bracket and go ahead and start fitting it to the car. The last step will obviously be this, and then getting the lines made and charging the AC. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed or unpackaged so we can figure out what goes where and start mounting that stuff to the engine block. So it's time to go ahead and get this AC compressor installed. We're using ICT Billet's kit. The first part we're going to start with is their builder's bracket. So this is just going to mount to the side of the engine block and give us somewhere to mount the compressor. It's really simple. There's just 2 bolts and it goes right in. So I'll go ahead and put you on a tripod and we'll throw that in. So the bracket's going to go just like this. So we're going to go ahead and start the top bolt. It goes in the very front one. I'm just going to get that started enough to hold it in place. And then the bottom one. Now you may need to clean out your bolt holes, make sure the threads are clean. Mine are good. I plugged them when I painted the block before we put it in, so that's not an issue. We'll just go ahead and snug those down, but I'm not going to actually tighten anything until we've got everything in place. Next up, we're going to the bracket for the AC compressor. So we've already got our support bracket in place. We're going to just grab 2 bolts and put this little piece in place on the support bracket. Okay, so we're aiming for this hole and this hole. went ahead and, just for my own information, measured each of these spacers and marked them as they are in the package. Really the only two you can't immediately look at and tell is the 1.63 and the 1.7. Otherwise it's pretty apparent which ones are which. All right, next up we're going to go ahead and hang the compressor. So to do that, we've got our M8x70 with a small spacer and a nut, and that's going to go into the plate that we just put in. So I'm going to do this a little out of order because I'm not sure how that actually goes onto the bracket. You can see it's showing behind there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this bracket on, which just goes like this. And then we've got some bolts and spacers to go on the builder's bracket. So there's what it looks like with the AC compressor installed. This is the tensioner that I just put on. It's all pretty straightforward once you kind of fool with it. We still do need to put a belt on. It just uses a 4-rib. I think it's a 373K4, so a 37.3 inch belt. Pretty neat setup. I think it'll serve us well. So the next step will be for me to go ahead and start the wiring. That's what we're going to tackle next. And I'll get the belt. No sense driving that thing when there's nothing, I've got the wire tucked out of the way to activate it and all that. All right, so I had to get a new liquid line because I was missing mine. This came from Firebird Central. And unfortunately, my car, being a 92, uses a 1-year only condenser, which I've already purchased one, unfortunately. But the bottom fitting is the wrong size. Apparently they went, I think, to a number 10 on that, or maybe it's an 8, I don't know. But this fitting is smaller and it won't fit. So I did what any normal person would do, and I bought a condenser from an earlier model, and this is the correct size fitting. So we're gonna swap this condenser out. Kind of sucks that I've had this one for a while, so there's not much I can do about it, but we'll go ahead and swap that out and put the new replacement condenser in there with the correct fitting. We're going to go ahead and get that line. I got to put the orifice tube in, and we'll have that connected, and then I'm going to have to figure out making lines for the dryer to the compressor, and then from the compressor to the condenser. So let's get that going. Okay, so I kind of expected to have a little bit of an issue trying to get this thing in. What's happening is when I try and use the rubber pieces that are supposed to go in there, they should sit like this, and for whatever reason it's got this tab here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut this. That probably avoids some kind of warranty, but we are the warranty. So we're going to cut that off, and then we'll be able to fit these on here like so, and then push that thing into place. And you may have seen I went out to the parts car and grabbed that foam. It doesn't look the best, but that just seals the air going through, so it'll kind of keep it from going around and make it go through the condenser. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get a cutoff wheel and slide those off gently. All right, next up, we need to put the orifice tube inside the, I guess it's the liquid line. This is an orange one. It's normally used in a 96 Crown Vic. Apparently this is the one to use if you're using 134A. So that's what we're gonna do. You can let me know in the comments if I don't have that right or something, but that seems pretty tight. Let me check and make sure there's nothing stuck in there. All right, well, this goes in. I just had to twist it a little bit. It basically goes in just like that. And then the line will go over the top of that. So let's grab the line. And I think the O-ring is a little big. Let's find another one. I went ahead and attached that. It was kind of hard to film that, so just picture me doing that. Here's the other issue I'm running into. Even with me purchasing this line, the length is wrong. So this is where we need to connect right here. The line, the end of the line is way over there. So it's about, I want to say it's about 4 inches too long. So I'm gonna, I guess, have to either get my own tool to shorten that line or have somebody do it. I also have to have a couple of lines made for our block there. I've got the manifold, and right there you can see we still haven't hooked up our heater hoses. But it's almost summer now, so I don't need heat. All right, well, I guess I marked that. I'm gonna measure real quick, and then I'm gonna need to get that line shortened. So it's been a little bit since I worked on this, but me and Mike are over here tinkering with it. I had to shorten these heater hoses a little bit to get them out of the way. Got the manifold in, and so now what we're gonna do is start routing the lines. We're gonna put the fittings on, route the lines where we think they should go, and then kind of see how that works out. All right, so we got these hoses kind of set up where we want them. That one's where it should be. I'm gonna cut this and then we'll put it in and then we'll mark the clock. Okay, so we're thinking like right there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I think I cut it in the wrong place. Oh no. Bam.
Good.
All right, so I think we're ready to crimp these hoses. This is not rocket science. You make sure that, all right, we've got our marks where we have it clocked correctly. Right there, our hose is all the way in. So what we're gonna do is we're going to close this. We'll put our pin through to hold it, and then we're going to slide our hose in. All right. Now this old man's getting his glasses out. All right, it's all the way in. We want to make sure that it's centered on here. All right, we're clapped correctly. All right, and then we're going to turn the knob to work. And say a little prayer. Here goes nothing. It's like a workout, bro.
I don't know when to stop, just when it stops.
It stops, yeah. It's got a bypass or it like it won't go. Like right there. All right, we're gonna turn it the other way and release it. Pop our clip out. And there we go. I'm gonna rotate this so you can kind of see this clamp. So we're gonna take this and we're going to put this here. All right, that locks it in place. All right, we're gonna switch this to work. And then we are going to crimp. I should turn this over. That'll make it a little easier. And you're gonna get your workout today. All right, here we go. And there we go. Looks good to me. All right, we're ready to crimp this second hose. All right, we're all the way in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pump it up a little bit, like Hans and Franz.
You changed it to work.
Of course I changed it to work. Come on, man. I know exactly what I'm doing.
It's good to me.
Yep. Hang on. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. I think right there is pretty good. Here we go. I can't believe that's that easy. That is nuts. All right, last one. Work. Ta-da! Okay, last cable. This is number 6. This one should be really easy. Fingers crossed. Voila! And just like that, I skipped ahead. I didn't bore you with me tightening fittings, but there are all of our AC lines. So I made all of the lines other than this hard line. That hard line that goes to the condenser had the right fitting, but it was about, the hose was about 4 inches too long. I didn't make that one. So went ahead and shortened that, put a new fitting on it, made this here, and that goes into the compressor manifold, and then here, and it all looks really, really good, and like I almost knew what I was doing. I'm super excited about the fact that I was able to do that. Big thanks to Mike for coming out and helping me. The last step is going to be connecting the compressor wiring. There's not much to it. I bought a kit from Current Performance. I think I may have shown you already. The green wire here on the pressure switch on the dryer is the signal from the computer, or not the computer, the AC controls inside the car. So when you turn it to AC, this green wire gets 12 volts. And from there, it goes into this switch, and when that switch sees pressure in here, then it closes and allows the power to go back out to the compressor and turn it on. It's a little more complicated with the Terminator because we're going to be having that monitor our coolant temps and also the throttle position sensor. So I've already configured that, and I'll show that somewhere in the video. They give you a diagram on how to configure a couple of things. So the wiring harness won't be that big of a deal. I bought a connector for this, which is part of the Holley, and we're going to be grabbing power for the switch 12 volts off of here. There's a ground, and then there's a couple of other wires, so it's not going to be a big deal. I'll probably just do it and then show you what I did. It's really self-explanatory, but honestly, the wire for the compressor is down there. If I wanted to, we could just run that to 12 volts and leave the compressor on all the time or put a switch on it. But I may do that if I can get in and get one of my buddies to charge it for me pretty soon, because it's really hot here. So anyway, that is what that looks like. So probably the next part you'll see is me with the wiring or me with AC, one of the two. So stay tuned right here, because I'm not going to publish this video till I have all this going. Okay, so did not make it to get the AC charged today, and it's actually the Wednesday before 4th of July. So I was planning to just jump the compressor to the battery if I needed to do that. They won't be able to get me in until Friday, which is 2 days. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this wheel off, pull this inner fender out, and I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and get all this wiring done, and I'll take you along for that. It should be fairly straightforward. All right, we're in. Right here is our Holley wiring. So we've got a ground point there we're going to tie into. There is our wiring for the other stuff. And then that is our little weather tight thing that I made. So all the wiring is external to here. It's right in there. And so what we're going to do is actually just undo that set of wires there, unclip it all. And then I'm going to look and see which is which. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and start wiring in our harness from Current Performance. I assume, but I need to look at the manual, and I assume all of this is what we need. I'm going to pull out the manual and that'll tell me, and then we will start connecting wires. Should be straightforward. This comes from the wiring over here, so I think it should be pretty straightforward. And this is AC wiring from the car, and then we will start plugging everything in and hopefully it'll all work. All right, I've kind of routed stuff up top. I want to show you how cool this is. So these are the two wires that I need from the Holley. The gray with the black stripe is the AC shutdown. So that will turn it off at a whatever TPS signal it's getting above 50% or whatever I configure. This one, the blue and white, or white and blue, whichever it is, that is the IAC kick. I'm looking at the manual. So that will bump the idle up slightly when you turn the AC on. But what I wanted to really show you is those wire colors. And then this is the harness that I got from Current Performance. And this isn't sponsored. I spent money on this specifically because their products are so awesome. So this is AC shutdown. This is IAC kick, and they're the same colors. So literally all I had to do was match up these two colors and then splice them together. Then there's a ground wire up here, which is going to go in a ground that I already have. Then I'm going to pin this 12 volts to a harness, which will then plug into the Holley. There's a place up in the engine bay that already has switched 12 volts, so that's perfect. And then I am planning to run my AC clutch. This basically turns the compressor on. I'm gonna run this up along here into the engine bay by the battery and then straight to the compressor. That way I don't have to run it past any of the hot stuff. That should be good. I don't think there's a better way to run it, so that's what I'm doing. All right, well, we're getting there. I just finished up all of the other wiring that I needed to. I think I'm gonna take this sticker off. That looks pretty much factory except for the sticker. And anyway, this is our 12 volt switched. This is gonna go into a Metro pack, I think is what that is. I bought a kit so that I can put a connector on it, just an end, and then it'll slide into this. That way we can disconnect it if we need to. Before I do that, I'm gonna hook up the battery. I wanna verify that the orange is the switch 12 volts. I believe that it is, but I wanna make sure. So right here, I've got the AC clutch connector, and on our application, we're using a single wire compressor. So the case itself is grounded to the chassis or the engine, and we have one wire that comes off of it that gets power. When that gets 12 volts, it engages the clutch for the compressor and makes it work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the end off of this and just use the green wire. And the green wire is what will send 12 volts to the compressor clutch. So we'll go ahead and snip that off, put an end on it, which will be the female part of this, and then we'll be able to plug it in. I've got some heat covering that I'm going to put on there, even though it probably doesn't need it because of the way I routed it, but I think I might throw some on there anyway. I haven't decided yet, but let's go ahead and do that. The black wire, which would normally, I believe, be a ground in this case, we're just going to kind of tuck that out of the way, and it won't be any big deal. So we're gonna clip this back here. So the ground is out of the way now. All we've got to do is put an end on this and connect that, and then we will have our working control for the clutch. Okay, so I got the battery hooked up, and I was checking this power tap harness. Apparently this wire here is the red one is the one I need. It is only active when the engine is running. That's what I'm reading. So we're gonna go ahead and terminate that pink wire, plug it into there, and I guess we'll back this thing out and do some checking. That's the only thing that makes sense. I'm getting ground on both of the blacks, and then I'm getting 5 volts, which is a sensor reference on the orange, so that makes sense. I guess we'll test that theory. Worst case, I use a connector and it didn't work. Okay, all this is connected. Got my wire connected there. I did verify that this red wire is powered when the car is running, which is perfect. It doesn't have to be powered when the car is not running because the compressor doesn't need to be on. So perfect there. I went ahead and connected the wire for the compressor, so that's good. Got the battery all connected back. So this is all looking really good. Everything's working like it should. Basically, the next thing I need to do is just put the inner fender in it, and then the next time you'll see me is when I'm getting it charged. All right, so the blower motor in this thing, I don't know the status of it. I don't know if that could have something to do with the poor AC performance that we're getting, but I do know that I have another one. I purchased this from Advanced Auto Parts. So we're gonna go ahead and swap that out and see if that helps at all. While this is out, I'm going to stick my little inspection camera in there and take a peek, see if I see anything that doesn't make any sense that could be causing it. We'll also at some point investigate the blend door, make sure that that is closing off the heater. appropriately. So let's go ahead and get this swapped out. Before I pull this out, we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. I just wanna hear what it sounds like and we can compare it. All right, the new blower motor's in. Let's see if that makes any difference, at least in how it sounds. All right, so we're seeing 48 degrees. So this is working properly. We've either got an issue with, you can see my coolant temps are not up to temperature yet. So I don't know if I've got a problem with the blend door not closing, and when it gets hot it just can't recuperate. Or maybe the blower motor's working, I don't know, but that's pretty darn cold. So I'm gonna let it warm up, we'll see what it does. So it looks like that blower motor took care of the circulation / cooling issue that we were having with the AC. It's hovered around 49 degrees and I'm gonna call that a win. I made my own AC hoses. I did all the install pretty much by myself. The wiring worked out great. Thank you, Current Performance, for that awesome harness. Thank you to my friend Dave for helping me get that AC charged, and also to Mike for coming out here and helping me do those AC hoses and getting those kind of looking right. So that's gonna do it for another episode. You'll see this again. We've got the Street Rod Nationals in Louisville very soon, a few weeks from the time that I post this video. I'm gonna have this out here. If you like the video, make sure you let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.